Good morning everyone. So here is the arithmetic for today. So click on arithmetic, and if you are on a tablet like me, the boxes are jumbled up. So if you click on that one there, open with Word, or you could click on the edit button if you'd rather edit online. And there you go. So you can complete questions 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 independently. Let's start on question 6. So question 6, 4.71 add 0.005. So the 0 here needs to be in the ones column. You have to make sure that the decimal points are lined up. So 0.005 we are adding. So remember, because there's a space here, you need to put a placeholder in, which is a 0. So now you can do 0 add 5, 1 add 0, 7 add 0, 4 add 0, remembering to put your decimal point there. Question 7, 3,992 add 5,409. I'm sure you can independently do that question, making sure that all the digits are in the correct column. So the ones are in the correct column, tens, hundreds, thousands. Make sure all the digits are in the correct column. And present your learning really clearly so that the columns are clear. Question 8. 300,972 subtract 78,209. So you need to make sure that you place the 78,209 in the correct columns. So the 78,000 needs to be in this column, 78,209. Look, make sure all the ones are in the right column, tens, hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands. And you are subtracting. 2 subtract 9 you can't do. So you need to exchange. You need to go to the tens column and exchange a 10, so that becomes a 6, for 10 ones. So 12 subtract 9 is 3, and you can continue. Question 9, 250 divided by 5. Now quite a lot of you would prefer to do the bus stop method, which is fine, or you can say, well, how many 5s are in 25, and then make it 10 times bigger. You don't always have to rely on a formal written method to find out the calculation. Look at the numbers and see if you can calculate it mentally. Question 10. 3.49 multiplied by 1,000. Because you're multiplying, the number is going to get 1,000 times bigger. So 3.49, if you are making the number 1,000 times bigger, you have to move the decimal point 3 times. 1, 2, 3. So if the decimal point comes there, then a placeholder will be there. Or you could draw your place value grid, 3.49, and move the digits 3 places this way. At the moment, the 3 is in the ones column, but we have to make it 1,000 times bigger. So we're going to move the 3 this way into the columns that have a higher value. So move the 3 places, 1, 2, 3. Move the 4 3 places because there's 3 zeros, and we're making the number 1,000 times bigger. So move the 4 3 places, 1, 2, 3. Move the 9 3 places, 1, 2, 3. But the decimal point will always stay in the same position, and then you need a placeholder here. Excellent work. Question 11. 78.4 subtract 0.98. So the 0 is in the ones column, so it needs to be here under the 8 because that's the ones column. There's your ones column, there's your tens column. The 4 is in the tenths column, so 0.98. The 8 is in the hundredths column. We are subtracting. Make sure you put your placeholder here. 0 subtract 8 you can't do, so exchange from the tenths column. So cross off the 4, that becomes a 3, and then this 0 is a 10. 10 subtract 8 is 2, and so on, making sure that your decimal point is all lined up and in the correct place. Question 12. 1/5 add 1/2. So you know that when you are adding fractions, the denominators have to be the same. So are we going to find the equivalent fraction of fifths in halves, or are we going to find the equivalent fraction of halves in fifths? You will notice that you can't do either of those. So we have to find a common factor for both fractions. So the common factor is 10 tenths. So what do I do to the 5 to find the equivalent fraction in tenths? I multiply it by 2. Because I've multiplied the denominator by 2, I have to make sure I multiply the numerator by 2. So 1 times 2 is 2. 5 times 2 is 10. Then add. I need to find the equivalent fraction of half in tenths. So what do I do to 2 to make it 10? I times it by 5, which means I have to times the numerator by 5. 1 times 5 is 5. So now I've got 2 tenths, add 5 tenths. Now my denominators are the same, I can work out the answer. 2 tenths add 5 tenths is how many tenths? That was question 12, sorry, not 2. Question 13. 539 multiplied by 47. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to multiply 539 by 7. So 9 times 7, 3 times 7, 5 times 7, and write my answer there. Then here, I'm going to cover up the 7 and I'm going to multiply everything by 4. 9 times 4, 3 times 4, 5 times 4. That 4, because it's in the tens column, I need to put a 0 here as a placeholder, because actually that 4, I'm not multiplying it by 4, I'm multiplying it by 40. So 9 times 4, 3 times 4, 5 times 4. Write your answer there, then add them together. Question 14. 6,201 divided by 53. So the question is asking you, how many 53s are in 6,201? For this we need long division because it's a 2-digit number. You can do it as short division. How many 53s are in 6? 0, carry the 2 over, a 6 over. How many 53s are in 62? Well, there's 1, remainder what? Write it here. I should put a question mark instead. So you can do it as a short division, okay, or long division. So how many 53s are in 6,201? So I know that 1 53 is 53. 2 53s is double that. So double 50 is 100, double 3 is 6, so 106. 10 53s is 53 multiplied by 10, 530. 100 53s, multiply that by 10 again, 5,300. 20 53s, well 2 53s is 106, so 20 is that multiplied by 10, so 1,060. 5 53s is half of the 10 53. So half of 500 is 250. Half of 30 is 15, so it's 265. If you are unsure about that, you can always do 530 divided by 2. How many 2s are in 5 is 2, remainder 1. How many 2s are in 13 is 6, remainder 1. How many 2s are in 10 is 5, so 265. Now I've done my starburst, I can now work out how many chunks of 53 there are in 6,201. So I'm going to subtract 100 53s. So 100 53s is 5,300. Subtract it. 1 subtract 0 is 1. 0 subtract 0 is 0. 2 subtract 3 you can't do. So exchange. 12 subtract 3 is 9. 5 subtract 5 is 0. So now I've got 901 left. Well, look here, 10 53s is 530. Subtract that. 1 subtract 0 is 1. 0 subtract 3 you can't do, so exchange. 10 subtract 3 is 7. 8 subtract 5 is 3. So I've got 371 left. Here, 5 53s is 265. Subtract that. 1 subtract 5 you can't do, so exchange. 11 subtract 5 is 6. 6 subtract 6 is 0. 3 subtract 2 is 1. So I've got 106 left. Ah, look. 2 53s is 106. Subtract that and I've got 0 left. So how many chunks of 53 are there in 6,201? You've got 100, 10, 15, 17, 117. And there's your answer. Question 15. Three fifths multiplied by 1/3. When you're multiplying fractions, you just multiply the top, the numerator, multiply the denominator. So 3 times 1 is what? 5 times 3 is what? Remember that that is just a quick way of working it out. 3 fifths multiplied by 1/3 is the same as saying 3 fifths of 1/3. Question 16. 7/12 divided by 2. When we're dividing fractions, you need to use KFC as a reminder. So K is you keep the first fraction, 7/12. F is flip, so 2 is 2/1. So flip that, so 1/2 or half, and then change the operation. So instead of divide, you multiply. Now just do exactly what we've done there. Multiply the numerators, multiply the denominators. 7 times 1 is what? 12 times 2 is what? Great job. Question 17. 5.66 multiplied by 4. There you go. Make sure your decimal point is in the right place. 6 times 4, 6 times 4, 5 times 4. Write your answer here. Question 18. Last question. 15% of 1,015. So 15% is 10% and 5%. So what is 10% of 1,015? So to find out 10%, you have to divide it by 10. So divide it by 10, move the decimal point in one place. So 10% is 101.5. Some of you would prefer to use a place value grid to divide by 10. So if you've got 1,015, there's the decimal point in a whole number. Divide it by 10, you move the digits one place. If it's dividing, the number gets smaller. So the 5, instead of being in the ones column is now in the tenths column. So move the digits one place, decimal point stays where it is, 101.5. So that's 10%. 5% is half of that. So to work out half, you divide by 2. So divide it by 2, 101.5 divided by 2. How many 2's are in 1? 0. Carry the 1 over. How many 2's are in 10 is 5. How many 2's are in 1 is 0. Carry the 1 over. Make sure that decimal point is in the right place. How many 2's are in 15? Well, 7 2's are 14, so then I've got 1 remainder. So when I've got 1 remaining in a decimal number, I have to put a 0 first, and then I put the 1 remainder. How many 2's are in 10 is 5. So 10% is 101.5, 5% is 50.75. Now you have to make sure that the decimal points are lined up. So that 5 is in the tens column, so I'm going to put it under the 0, sorry. 50.75. Put my placeholder in here. So there's 10%, there's 5%, add them together and you will have 15%. Make sure you've got that decimal point there. Well done, you've worked so hard this term on arithmetic. Great job.